No doubt sports are dangerous, exciting, and require a lot of endurance, strength, dedication, and a will-to-win spirit. But let's be honest, how dangerous could it be? Turns out, not all sports were created equal when it comes to danger, and there are some athletes who genuinely put their lives on the line every time they compete. In today's video, we've collected for you the craziest and most dangerous sports in the world. Let's get it on! Russian slap competition.
Very!
What began as a sideshow during the European strongman and weightlifting competitions has now become an internet sensation and a grueling endurance sport. Originating in Russia to demonstrate the great strength and pain tolerance of the competitors, the slap competition is very simple. Two men face each other and trade slaps until one is either knocked out or surrenders, with blocking or ducking the hit being against the rules. Finally, getting slapped at the bar after all those bad pickup lines may just pay off. The sport has its obvious dangers of concussion and loss of consciousness. This is well known, and the referees carry smelling salts to rouse slap recipients back to full consciousness after each hit, just to see if they're up for more. The sport's current champion, Vasily Komotsky, gained his title quite unexpectedly when his friends talked him into competing while they attended a Siberian fitness show back in May 2018. Weighing 168 kilograms, Vasily is a farmer from a small Siberian town who resembles a bear as much as he does a man, and has great palms that can deliver a slap harder than most men could punch. He is presently undefeated, with two of his competitors even being knocked out cold. This sport was dangerous enough as it is, but became a whole lot worse when Vasily joined the field. Too bad Logan Paul never got to compete against him, though.
Oh! Yo, catch him, catch him, catch him.
Pity. Free solo climbing. Bouldering and rock climbing are challenging and dangerous sports that require enormous physical strength, concentration, and planning to scale a wall or mountain. Even with a plethora of safety equipment, such as ropes, pins, and harnesses, there have been many deaths from falls. So take that, remove any and all safety equipment, and you have one of the most dangerous sports in the world. Free solo climbing. With nothing but their own strength, these climbers scale heights far beyond any survivable limits should they slip, fall, or even just get tired. The first recorded free solo climb occurred in 1869, when a man named John Muir climbed the cathedral peak of the Yosemite National Park. Since then, there have been hundreds of deaths as hopeful climbers aspired to the fame that comes from braving the risks, but then fall from great heights. One climber that has achieved that fame is Alex Honnold, minus the falling part. This 34-year-old American daredevil received worldwide fame when he became the first person to free solo climb the El Capitan cliff face in Yosemite National Park. Not only did he complete the climb entirely by himself and with no safety equipment, but he did the climb that normally takes professionals multiple days to complete in just under 4 hours. Other climbers have branched away from mountains, like Alain Robert, also known as the French Spider-Man, who's better known for free solo climbing skyscrapers all over the world. Not only does he risk certain death, but is also regularly arrested at the conclusion of his climbs. Slacklining. Slacklining is similar to tightrope walking. The athlete must balance and walk along a length of thin webbing that is tied between two anchors. Tightrope walking sounds hard enough, but slacklining differs, as the webbing is held with far less tension between the anchors, meaning the wire you're walking on will bounce, stretch, and move as you travel across it, kind of like walking across a bridge made on an ultra-thin trampoline. While many slackliners will practice their technique close to the ground or above water, the pinnacle of this sport is what they call highlining. As the name suggests, this is slacklining, but at great heights. When done without harnesses or safety nets, this is one of the world's most dangerous sports. And despite being fairly new, there's already been one death and several serious incidents. As is the case with all the sports on this list, danger doesn't concern athletes who continually push for bigger and higher accomplishments. The longest free solo highline was walked in Hoonland Falls in northern British Columbia back in August of 2016. Friday Kuhn balanced on a length of 72 meters while being suspended 400 meters above the ground with zero safety equipment. If you're afraid of heights and dying, this isn't the sport for you. Base jumping. Back in the day, when it came to extreme sports, jumping out of a plane took the cake. These days, however, skydiving has a much more dangerous cousin: base jumping. BASE is an acronym that stands for 4 categories of fixed objects from which one can jump: buildings, antennas, spans, and earth. But wait, you may ask, a plane is so much further from the ground than a building or a cliff. Wouldn't that make it more dangerous? Well, no, actually. The lower altitude makes it riskier, as the jumpers have less time between jump and landing to get it right. A slight mistake in steering or a sudden gust of wind could send you crashing into the cliff or building you just leapt from. Lower speeds mean parachutes deploy slower, and if you pull them a second too late, they won't have time to stop your fall. Even if you get all that right, the shorter fall time means you have less time to find a spot to land, which are less common around base jumping sites. Choose wrong, and you could end up speared into a tree. Or into a lake buried beneath the parachute. Because of all these reasons, it shouldn't be any surprise that there have been 328 recorded base jumper deaths between 1981 and 2017. Mixed martial arts. Mixed martial arts is a full-contact combat sport, made most famous by the UFC's rise in popularity across the last decade. Despite the recent surge, MMA has existed in one form or another since the early 1900s. Originally promoted as a competition to find the most effective martial arts for unarmed combat, competitors from different fighting styles were pitted against one another with relatively few rules. These disciplines include kickboxing, Muay Thai, karate, taekwondo, and judo, to name just a few. Since its early days, the rules of MMA have changed significantly to allow it to become a more mainstream and regulated sport. Today, individual fighters incorporate several different martial arts into their style, along with fingerless gloves to protect fists and limit cuts. Weight classes and time limits were established, with the addition of referees to enforce stoppages or victories. Despite these implemented safeguards, MMA is still one of the most dangerous of all martial arts, as there have been 7 deaths in the past 12 years from professional fights, each arising from head and brain trauma. Even when there isn't a fatality, it isn't rare to see a fighter bleeding heavily from the head, with a fractured wrist, laid out with a concussion, or with a broken bone. Locking 2 highly trained fighters in a cage together? Of course it's going to be a dangerous sport. Boxing. Another combat sport to make today's list is boxing. Despite being very similar to UFC fights, boxing is a single discipline, and is actually more dangerous than its MMA counterpart. Yes, even though boxers fight with larger protective gloves and MMA fighters receive 10% more injuries, boxers statistically received much more severe injuries. That's because MMA fighters target the whole body, whereas boxers are throwing hits mostly to the head. Getting successive hits to the face with punches that range from 300 to 500 kilograms of force will do a lot of damage. Detached retinas, brain trauma, and loss of consciousness is common. In fact, there were 650 deaths from professional boxing matches across a 90-year period in the 1900s. Given the danger, it's no wonder athletes like Floyd Mayweather get paid so much. Psst, hey, you still there? Well, since you made it this far, here are all the shoutouts we promised everyone that commented on our previous video. If you want to be shouted out in our next upcoming video and all the ones prior to that, just make sure you're subscribed to the channel and leave a comment down below saying "Pick me," as well as all our future videos, and your name will forever be featured on our videos for everyone to see.